All right, Shalom. Before I begin this video, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, GMS, who rule well and teach well, as well as the sincere salutations to you hopeful elect Akim, all right, who are pushing this word all throughout the four winds of the earth. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, Barakatham, and to you brothers. And the title of this video is Financial Ruin Will Turn to Physical Ruin in Babylon the Great, aka America. Because this economic nosedive is eventually going to lead to the MOTB, which is eventually going to lead to World War III, right? Ultimately, all the nations turning on Babylon the Great, aka America, shooting ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, here on Babylon the Great, aka America, and only the elect of the nation of Israel, right, are going to be beamed up, okay, by way of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai in them times, man. Them times are coming soon. All right, so this is from Market Watch. And this guy is some insider. He's probably a small hat. The stock market will go down 80% when this is over, says bearish investor Mark Spitznagel. Which I could be incorrect, but I believe he's a small hat. Just, the name, along with, obviously you can just look at him. Spitznagel still believes we haven't entered the main event, and the recent stock market plunge is just a trap. Right? What's the main event? The main event is the chip. That's the main event. That's what's eventually finna take place. That CHIP coming. All right, one of Wall Street's most notoriously pessimistic and successful investors, Mark Spitznagel, and that, this nigga got all types of insider info. He insider. Said the stock market plunge that followed President DJT tariff rollout isn't the epic market crash he has been calling for, but rather the turmoil along the way to the big event. Says, I expect an 80% crash when this is over. Woo! Damn. It says, adding that when the real crash happens, investors will know it. Spitznagel is the founder and chief investment officer of hedge fund Universa Investments, which employs a strategy that aims to take positions that will benefit from rare, unpredictable, but highly impactful events. Which, this nigga here already knows, what different things are gonna happen, and then he just places his money, buy the rumor and sell the news. Classic. Just typical Edomite making money off of the misfortune of others, specifically the Israelites. So it says, it's known as a black swan fund, a term to describe such events popularized by scientists. Author and former options trader Nassim Nicholas Taleb, who was influential in the firm's strategy. So basically, they make money off of significant and impactful, often negative events. Universal made headlines in the first quarter of 2020 for returning 4,144% as the market crashed in March. So they obviously know something that the general public don't know. And these statistics show that during the time of COVID was one of the greatest increases of wealth in one of the greatest wealth transfers of all time, because the these merchants of the earth, all these merchants, they made more money then in that time than almost ever before. Because that there's of course you have the elite, the bankers, yet they have the elite have puppets, figureheads that they kind of put them in a certain position of power. Ultimately they let these lackeys play with their money. See, because ultimately this money, these Federal Reserve notes, that's the elite's money. They can dictate, if they need to print some more, that's what they do. They own the printing presses. All right, this is another sell-off to shake people out. This isn't Armageddon. That time will come as the bubble bursts. Damn. So, you got these different insiders saying, hey, this shit's only going to get worse. All right, stocks were off session lows, but posting losses in a wildly volatile session Monday. And that was today. All right, or technically yesterday. And it's just been steadily tanking. All right. It says the Dow Jones was down more than 200 points. It says while the S&P 500 slightly recovered and the NASDAQ composite was down. It said in Thursday and Friday. It says the S&P 500 fell a cumulative 10.5, that's outrageous. That is outrageous. The top 500, companies, it fell 10%. That's trillions of dollars. That's trillions of dollars, man. Just wiped off. All right, it says the S&P 500 and other major indexes saw their steepest two-day sell-off since March 2020. And you can see what happened then. So they're basically, hey man, we know the game. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Now he's down. Things are gonna continue to get worse. we might have a little moment where things kind of seem like they're steadying out. Yet ultimately, we know that they're tanking this economy to bring in the CHIP. It says Spitznagel has been calling for a bigger crash, one that would be worse, that would be the worst since 1929. And uh, right after that came the Great Depression. So you have wars, economic positives. You have war, economic negatives. But you have war before and after major bubbles. So we're on the cusp of that. With the CHIP coming into effect, wars coming right after that. It says the investor emphasized he isn't in the business of predicting the timing of market crashes. However, he has previously voiced concerns over mounting U.S. debt, which he sees posing a key risk to markets. Because the debt ties directly with the markets. The whole stock market is based off of debt. E's money ain't even backed by gold. you know, this money ain't even backed by gold. The value of the money is diminishing until ultimately what? They got to get rid of it. They're going to say, okay, forget it. We're getting rid of cash. We're going towards a new system, a digital system. And then they're going to do what? They're going to present that CHIP. It says, in 2024, he warned investors about not getting caught off guard when the stock market does turn for the worst and end up being the sucker that sells when the market is down and buys when it's up. Damn. He advocated having positions agnostic to market turmoil, a difficult ask for the average person. And that's because when the average Babylonian sees the stock market tanking, they just sell. Right? When they see, okay, everything is just hemorrhaging, they sell. And then when things get, quote unquote better, that's when they decide to buy. Which, brothers in this truth, we're not no economic, geniuses. Yet we understand that you're supposed to, buy low and sell the stock high. We know that. And we know that because he's a predictor of these things. He, he goes to school for these things for years. Because he does all that. We know that he has a plan. All right, we know that the international bankers, they have a plan. All right, they're the ones who are manipulating this economy. Okay, it's their economy. So this ain't the American public's economy. All right, this is the economy of the elite. All right, the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Gettys, DuPonts. All right. It says all the doom and gloomers think it's over and they have this figured out. Take it from a professional doomer, they don't. And they definitely don't have the right position for it. Yeah, so this coming from a guy who's got a significant stake in the economy. He's telling you, hey, this shit's gonna get worse, and that's because he's an insider. He's tied to these bankers. Now he may not be on the same level. If the elite are the 1%, then this guy would be, he'd be in the 25%, type of guy, to where he doesn't have the pull and the power of the elite. But this, you can tell that this guy, by how he's talking, you can tell that he knows enough about the economy to know that it's being manipulated, and he personally knows the people that are helping to manipulate it. All right. He goes to school with some of the elites, sons, especially the younger ones, because the older elite, they don't go to school and whatnot. Why? They own everything. Why would you work? Why would you need to go to school? You know, yeah, some of these elite, they have a longing to, kind of want to understand things from a more lower level. So, they may travel, overseas to go to, London School of Business, or, go to Spain to, learn about, you know, business and whatnot. All these different financial hubs, like France. Basically, E. Basically, if you want to learn about the economy, if you want to learn how to manipulate markets, you got to go through E, because E is the owner of those markets. You got to go to his schools that he set up with his money, man. That's why we constantly say, we're not, no super experts on it. Yet the Lord is, showed us these different articles, to boost our faith and to show us that we're closer than ever, uh, you know, to eventually this CHIP. And Izzy is telling you, when to buy, when to sell, or whatever. But ultimately, this economy is fucking through, and the CHIP is on the way. This is Malachi 1:1. The burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. The Lord set up prophets to speak to the nation of Israel. And it says, I have loved you, saith the Lord, yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. So eventually, this nigga's kingdom is not going to exist. It's not going to stand. So these different economic articles, These are a precursor to what's to come. Eventually, Babylon the Great, aka America, is going to be completely destroyed by thermonuclear intercontinental ballistic missiles. Malachi 1 and 3. And I hated Esau. Yeah, so the Lord hates Esau, and he hates Esau's system. He hates the system that's been put in place. Which ultimately, this damn devil, he's just doing his job, Yet the Lord set up Esau to be hated. He was created to be hated. Right? You got good and you got evil. The good is the Israelites. The evil are the Edomites. And we'll also say you heathens as well. Now the most evil is Esau, Edom. Yet the heathen, you're evil as well. It's just the evil, the wicked is Esau, Edom. Yeah, the heathen is wicked as well. But the premier wicked, that title belongs to Esau, Edom. Malachi 1 and 4. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. So, every time Esau is at a low point, he believes that he has some sort of bounce back. Like he got another chance. It says, thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. So, he will be up, then he will be kind of messed up. Okay, then he'll be up again. Well, once this CHIP comes about, it's all downhill from there. They shall build, but I will throw down. So the Lord is gonna throw this shit down, man. This is this land, Babylon the Great, aka America. It's just abominable. It's filthy. The Lord is gonna get rid of this place, right? It says, and they shall call them the border of wickedness. So wickedness starts at when you have a border. That's basically the beginning of that land. If you have the land, any sort of land mass, right? The border, that's the beginning. That's the start. Off top, off rip from the jump. E is wicked. Like wickedness starts at Esau, Edom. Like nobody's more wicked. Nobody is more wicked than the wicked. All right, it says Malachi 1 and 4 continuing. The border of wickedness. Yeah, so wickedness starts with this nigga. And the people against, so not only that, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. So he feels that way now, and he's always gonna feel that way. All the way up until he is destroyed, pertaining to the book of Obadiah. The Lord gonna hate you when he's getting rid of you. After that 1,000 years, after you build up the kingdom, the Lord's anger is gonna be kindled when you getting round up and turn to stubble. And your eyes shall see, and ye shall say, the Lord will be magnified from the border of Israel. So you're going to see that it's the elect of the nation of Israel that's going to be ruling, man. You know, the Lord Yahweh is magnified from the border. So you have the border of wickedness, Esau, Edom. And then you have the border of Israel, which is righteousness. All right, the elect. All right, the elect are on the front line, you know, for the nation of Israel. The elect ain't in the back. The elect is leading the way. The elect is right there at the border. A son honoreth his father, and a servant his master. If then I be a father, where is mine honor? So only the Israelites are honoring the Lord. Right? Only the elect of the nation of Israel serving our master. Who's our master? Yahushua, right? If then I be a father, where is mine honor? All right, and the Heavenly Father, you know, is worthy of being honored, worshipped, praised. Right? He says, and if I be a master, where is my fear? Yeah, so you're supposed to fear your master, right? Saith the Lord of hosts unto you, O priests that despise my name. Despise what name? Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua. It says, and ye say, wherein have we despised thy name? Yeah. What did we do? How do we sin against the name of the Lord? How do we, wait, what did we do? You know what the hell you did? By you seeing these prophecies taking place and you just ignoring them, you despising the Lord because you despising prophecy. Right? The scriptures talk about the Lord coming in the volume of the book. What's in the book? Prophecy. So if you denying the prophecies, ultimately you denying the Lord. And you denying and despising his name. Ye offer polluted bread upon mine altar, and ye say, wherein have we polluted thee? And that ye say, the table of the Lord is contemptible. In which they're always trying to pervert and twist the words of the Lord. You know, they're always trying to act like, you know, they can break down and decipher the scriptures, and when really in reality, these people just twist the words of the Lord, man. They're always trying to take scripture and bend it. As part of that pollution. You know, the scriptures speak about a little bit of leaven, leaveneth the whole lump. So all it takes is a little bit of wickedness. All it takes is a little bit. And then all of a sudden, now you got all the other nations, you know, looking down on us, looking down on the Israelites. Okay. It says, and if ye offer the blind for sacrifice, is it not evil? Who's the blind? Jake. And if ye offer the lame and sick, is it not evil? Offer it now unto thy governor. Will he be pleased with thee, or accept thy person? Saith the Lord of hosts. So the same things that Jake is offering, you know, try to offer it to the Lord and see what he do. He gonna fucking, the Lord gonna be hacking and slicing and dicing. That's what the Lord is. See, yeah, try that shit with the Lord, man. When the Lord comes, try to push that same, narrative. Oh, love is love. Try to, try to push that. Oh, we're all one. Try to push that when the Lord get here. The Lord gonna fucking, Lord gonna split your wig, man. He says, and now beseech Yahweh Shai that he will be gracious unto you, unto us, Slakia, unto us. This hath been by your means. Will he regard your persons, saith the Lord of hosts? And we know that the Lord is not a respecter of persons. So anybody can get it. Right? Anybody. We understand that. Let's see if we can. This is Acts 10:34. Then Peter opened his mouth and said, of a truth, I perceive that Yahweh Shai is no respecter of persons. So it's through the Spirit that Peter understood that, right? Because the scriptures is truth, right? Yahweh Shai is truth. The Lord is the scriptures, right? And we know that the Lord is the truth. The Lord is that light, right? So we know that the Lord is not a respecter of persons. The Lord don't give a damn who you are. These scriptures cut through all that. The Lord don't care about, you know, big man ting, the big man on campus. The Lord don't care about that. How many cars and clothes and hoes you got, and how many restaurants you own, how many LLCs you got. The Lord don't give a damn about that. But in every nation, he that feareth him and worketh righteousness is accepted with him. So you have the elect scattered throughout the four winds of the earth. We fear the Lord, man. We understand what the Lord can do to us. Acts 10:36. The word which Yahweh sent unto the children of Israel, preaching peace by Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. He is Lord of all. So we